Hi, I'm Annalise Jones.
And I'm E2B Stearns. Welcome to Stratazine, your source for authentic curated content for digital and social media professionals.
On today's show, we'll take a look in the importance of building a business's social media presence.
In our tips and tools segment, we'll show you how to create an ad on Instagram to promote your business.
First, for our question of the day, what percentage of consumers say they are more likely to buy from a brand with a strong social media presence? E2B asked students about their favorite influencers and brands in order to get an understanding of why brands and influencer brands are trustworthy. Let's take a look and see what they said.
Okay, so who are your favorite influencers? Why do you follow them? And how did you find them?
Joe Rouse.
Same here.
Funny.
Yeah, he's very funny.
How did you guys find him?
A little doom scrolling.
Yeah, I was just scrolling on TikTok and I found him.
Of Nara Smith, my queen, because she's so relaxing and every time I watch her, I just feel so calm and it's so satisfying and therapeutic and she's an icon. Her on TikTok.
Love Josh and Savannah. They're family TikTokers and they're amazing. The fit checks, the get ready with me's, the family Disney trips. That's what I aspire to be. TikTok as well. I'm an avid scroller.
Like C-Bum a lot. I think he's a very straightforward man when it comes to his goals and what his dedications are. And I like the way that he presents himself with those aspirations he has. And you can see that in the way he lifts and the way he moves forward in his goals. He cares about the small things that he likes. My buddy showed me him.
Okay, so my favorite right now is someone named Claudia Oshry, and it's Girl with No Job on Instagram. And I just like her because she's really honest and she's really entertaining and funny, but she's still relatable even while having a really extravagant job.
That's good. How did you find her?
Found her off her podcast clips on TikTok.
Favorite influencer is gonna be right here. It's this guy. His name is Hus Bay, and he is a workout influencer. And he has lost a lot of weight, and I'm trying to lose all that weight, so.
Did you find him just on TikTok or like people showed it to you, like his content?
On TikTok.
Oh, awesome.
My favorite influencer is Side Talk NYC, guy who goes around New York and he just interviews a bunch of people on the street. I really like him because his videos are just super dynamic, they're funny, and he's pretty consistent with his content. Found him on TikTok because he had a trending sound like 4 years ago. And I looked at what the sound came from, and it was connected to Side Talk, and now I get so excited when they come out with new videos.
We'll have that answer to the question of the day later in the podcast.
Now, there was a time when brands could throw content on social media without a second thought. Success now requires a strategic plan with content that drives engagement and meets clear objectives.
Madeline King will share with us about how to establish a marketing plan.
Today we're talking about how to grow your audience through your online presence. Social media is one of the most powerful tools for businesses today, but posting randomly isn't enough. Let's talk about what a social media marketing plan is and why every business, big or small, should have one. In fact, the University of Maine reports that over 400,000 new social media accounts are created every single day. With so much competition, having a strategy is essential if you want to stand out and connect with your audience. According to Hootsuite, a social media marketing plan acts as a roadmap, guiding all your social media efforts and making sure they align with your broader business objectives. It helps you stay organized, intentional, and creative, instead of just guessing what to post next. A good plan answers what platforms you'll use, what type of content you'll create, how often you'll post, and how you'll track results. Whether you're a small business or a big brand, a social media marketing plan keeps you organized, focused, and creative. If your business or brand is online, you need a social media marketing plan.
Now that we know more about how to build a marketing plan, let's chat with a social media professional expert on the best way to build a trustworthy and solid brand identity.
Recently, I had the opportunity to speak with James Monahan about his experience growing a business's social media from the ground up. Welcome to Stratazine. I'm here with James Monahan. James, how are you doing today?
I'm doing so good.
Good. Thanks for being on with me.
Sure.
So as you all know, we're talking about social media and the importance of growing your company's brand on social media. And James is a professional at that. So that's what we're here today.
I sure am.
So how did you first start managing social media?
So I decided to start to manage social media a little bit just because I found it fascinating how the people interact with social media, how they decide to post, and how they decide to tweak the algorithm to make sure that their post kind of gets out there. I just find the behavior and the psychology behind that, why we do that, really interesting. And I love marketing as well, and I just think social media is kind of the future of marketing.
So what was Alpha Graphics' social media presence like when you first took over and you started for them?
They had the bare minimums. A lot of their focus for their marketing team was actually through email marketing, but I came in as an intern and was like, well, you guys' social media is kind of lackluster. Let's see what we can do and see if we can get some customers or some channels opened up so that we can attract more of a brand awareness for Alpha Graphics. So it was pretty non-existent. It was there. They had the basic, this is our social media, this is who we are, and then they occasionally post every couple months.
What was your biggest challenge you faced in growing their social media?
Honestly, the management of Alpha Graphics. It wasn't that they were necessarily opposed to it, they just didn't know anything about it. And so it fell on me to really educate them about what social media marketing was, what the benefits of social media could be, and how this could work for them in a way that could really bring in some recognition from the community.
Right. So what did educating them about it look like? Did you have to run your post past them, or how did they push back? What did that whole conversation look like?
Yeah, so I started out first with doing a social media audit. So I took stock of, well, these are all your different channels right now. This is what you're currently doing. This is how frequently you're posting. This is the type of content you are posting. And I compared that with the data analytics of the social media in order to determine how well they were performing.
Right.
And so I did that first, and I presented the data and said, hey, you're not really doing anything. We can at least improve this a little bit. And so I took that data and then I formulated based off of current trends and marketing data for social media in general. I said, this is the type of content that's going to perform the best on these types of platforms. And I then created a pretty standard, a social media marketing, what's the word? Calendar almost.
Like a plan?
Yeah, like a plan. A strategic social media plan that said, this is the type of content we would like to post at this time of the day when traffic is peak.
Right.
And all the data, and then I took that and I presented it to them and said, this is what we could do to improve the channel.
Right.
Or the different channels. And they were like, okay, this looks good. let's do this. And we kind of ran with it a little bit.
Whatever you say, intern. You did it. So what growth did you see from that? Did you guys see an increase in followers or an increase in customers, or?
To a certain degree, there wasn't a lot of resources put behind the social media campaign.
Right.
Because they had seen so much success in other variations of marketing that they didn't put a lot of resources behind the social media. So it was really kind of left on my own. We did see an increase in how frequently we were posting. We saw some correspondence with more posting, more followers gained.
Right.
It wasn't anything spectacular, but it was enough to show, hey, there is potential here to growth in the community and to improve our reputation.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when you were in that whole process, how did you determine what type of content resonated the best with your audience that you were growing on social media?
What we ended up doing was we took the content that we were posting, which a lot of it came from our corporate website or our corporate marketing team, and we decided to break away from that just a little bit. There's only so much we could do with that.
Right.
And to show, hey, this is our franchise. This is what we are doing. And what we found is really the short form video was working the best for us. That showed our people on the ground, our employees who were actually doing the projects, doing the printing process. That was what really drew people to our social media platforms so that they could see a little bit of the behind the scenes of what we were doing.
Do you guys still follow that same pattern that you set when you were an intern?
I am not involved with it as of right now, and it's been a number of years since I've done that for Alpha Graphics.
Yeah.
I can say that based off of what I've seen from our social media channels, just as a recipient of that now, it's not quite the same.
Right.
I suspect that they've had a little bit of a fallback, where they're not. It's not so much as a priority now.
Right.
So,
Why do you think social media is important to grow that for businesses today?
I think we live in a world where an individual's privacy is a little bit subjective, where a lot of our life is out there.
Mm-hmm.
And because we're surrounded by social media, and the stats say that we spend a lot of our time looking at our screens, and a lot of that time is on social media and various platforms, what I believe is people are looking for when they go to a business's website is to see a little bit of that life, that personality behind a business, to really see, well, this isn't just a business, a corporate entity that's trying to take our money. There are people who are working in this business who are enjoying what they do, and they're moving towards something, a greater goal, a cohesive team effort.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what people want to see, is they want to see the brand personality that is behind a company. They want to see the people and the story that they have to tell.
Yeah. No, I wholeheartedly agree. What advice would you give to a business that is starting their social media, whether that's from scratch or like where Alpha Graphics was, where it like was non-existent?
I think the best case scenario is, I would say there's two things. The first is consistency. If you're not posting consistently, you're not in the algorithm enough in order for you to actually be seen by people. And then once you're posting consistently, perhaps there's three things. I would post consistently, and then I would probably pick something every week, especially if you're just starting out or you don't have a presence, one thing to improve in, because you're not going to be the best right off the bat. You're not going to have the resources that a big brand may have. And so I would, one, be consistent, and then two, try to pick something to improve. And then the third thing is like I said in the last question, is to show a little bit of your personality, be genuine, and show people who you are, why you love what you do. And I think as you do those three things and you combine them together, what you're going to do is create a following that is there for you. You're going to create your community.
So how do you stay updated with like the changing social media algorithms and trends? Because it feels like even on Instagram, their algorithm changes every other day. So how would you stay relevant in that so your posts are still being seen?
Yeah. So specifically with Instagram, because that's where I have a little bit more expertise, which is not crazy, but just a little bit, is the first thing is you have to understand the algorithm itself, and then Instagram changes it every single day, if not every other hour.
Yeah.
And which is crazy to think about. When you think about a company, a platform that's doing as much revenue as they are, they're constantly going to try to improve things. And as such, I would actually follow the founders or the people who are involved with making those algorithm changes, because a lot of them are going to say, hey, we just made this change. This is why we made it, and we want to improve the process.
And then last but not least, where do you see the future of social media marketing heading? Do you think that it will rise? Do you think we'll stop doing it? Do you think it'll kind of stay where it is?
I think the future of social media is going to continue on the trajectory that's already on. Already, if we look at society in general, our screen time from a number of years ago was like an hour a day, and now the average person, I think, is 6 to 7 hours a day.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely wild. I think it's only really been like a decade and a half that we've really had social media. And if we look at that current trend, I'm sure at some point it will taper off. But the reality is a lot more of our world is becoming digital, and it's also becoming a lot more video and audio. We're not spending as much time reading as we thought we would. Facebook made a pledge that Facebook would be all video within 5 years, a number of years ago.
Wow.
It is not that way. So it is moving a little bit slower than some of these big giant platforms are anticipating. But the reality is that we are heading in that way. We can see with the success of Instagram Reels, we can see with TikTok specifically. We're going a lot more visual and audio. Specifically in the audio, a lot of apps are starting to take off in that regard. People want to listen while they're doing other things. And so I suspect that the future of Instagram is more so in the audio and the visual, those short form videos that we watch.
Right. Well, thanks so much for being on here. I really appreciate you.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm so glad I got to talk to James this week. I was able to learn a lot. So up next, we have our tips and tools for this week, and it's directly related to our topic of discussion. Emmy Hilbig will show us how to run and create a business account on Instagram.
Hey guys, today we're going to learn more about Instagram and the different tools you can use on there to promote your business. First, what we're going to do is make our profile picture. So you click the plus button and you can select where you would like to take your photo from. I chose this photo from my TED Talk from last semester to use. And there you just wait for it to load and it will be finished. To create a bio, click the 3 dashes on the side. Here you can add your name. I will be adding my personal name to this account. Excuse me, spelling my own name wrong. Click change name. Then after that, you can go and add anything you would like into your bio. So you can describe what your business is and what you represent and anything else that you would like. Here you can go and you can add different gender if you want. You can add a link that can take to your personal website. And there you'll see that it's all submitted to your bio. Let's create your first post. So here at the bottom, you can click the plus sign and we're going to be making a post. Here I clicked on new bookings and you can edit it any sort of way that you like. When you share the post, you can add a caption if you would like. Using hashtags is also very helpful just to spread the message and so that it can connect you to similar posts like your own. Especially if you have multiple posts on your page or different accounts that you use. From there, you can tag people. You can do, if you're doing a dual post with someone else, you can add music, a location, and focus on your audience as well. Once it uploads, it will show to your main page and on other people's feed. Thanks for watching the tips and tools. Hope it helped.
Thank you so much, Emmy. So back to the question of the day, what percentage of consumers say they're more likely to buy from a brand with a strong social media presence?
The answer is 78%. Most people say they are more likely to buy from a brand with a strong social media presence.
That's all of this episode of Stratoscene. Coming up in our next episode, the topic will be creating a more cohesive brand identity.